Hey, what's up? What's going on, everyone? Dean Kulaweera here. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I hope everyone is doing great. Every week on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here to help you folks out with job search tips, advice, strategies, things that you can apply to your job search based on my own experiences, working on the other side of the table as a IT recruiter in the tech in the staffing industry. And although I have been primarily or 100% an IT recruiter, I definitely try to talk about stuff and tips and advice applicable to any industry as well. So look, if you're not in IT, you're not in tech, uh, don't it doesn't mean you have to leave. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be speaking about anything that will be relevant to you. You're certainly most welcome to stay. And don't be shy, folks. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. Remember, one of the greatest challenges in your job search is lack of visibility. People don't know who you are. People don't know you exist. The organizations you want to work for, the people you want to network with, they don't know you exist, right? So look, if you're comfortable with it, if you're good with it, if you don't, as long as you don't want your current employer to know that you might be looking for work, you're tuning into Dean's weekly live stream. If that's not the case, if that's not the scenario, don't be shy. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. All right. So also shout out to everyone tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Appreciate you tuning in. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, thank you for tuning in. And feel free to tune in every week, Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, right here on whatever platform you're using. Again, maybe you're tuning in from one of those several channels where I broadcast live every week. All right. So today's topic, what I'm going to be speaking about today, folks, is how do you network effectively? How do you network like a recruiter, right? Because look, recruiters out there, I mean, we're constantly networking, right? We're constantly putting ourselves out there, constantly networking, constantly because that's part of our job. We have to have a consistent, constant pipeline of people that we can potentially present to hiring teams, right? To our clients. And not just right now, but also in the future, right? Because we're as recruiters, we're always thinking about, hey, who can we connect with our clients, with the hiring team, if not right now, at some point in the future. So I felt that this is a very important topic, and I'm very happy to share a couple of tips today that to help you folks out there that are kind of struggling with this whole thing about networking, right? How do you know? Because everyone says, I mean, those cute little Instagram sayings are so easy, right? Well, what is it that they say? Your network is your net worth. It's not about what you know. It's about who you know. All these cute little sayings about networking, but no one's. I mean, to find actual tips and advice, that would be much more helpful, right? So that's what I wanted to do on today's stream, on today's segment. So be ready to take notes. Typically, my segments go on for about half an hour or so. Sometimes, if I get really heated and really intense and really into the topic, I might go on for like 45 minutes or an hour, or until I lose my voice. So in any case, feel free to ask any questions you have about today's topic, folks. Feel free to drop your questions in the comments. Let me know what you're experiencing right now. Like, what is your networking strategy? How is that going for you? Do you find networking to be helpful? Has it been a complete waste of time? Are you attending professional networking events? Are you attending industry events? How are you handling the networking portion of these events? What are some best practices? What are some things that have helped you that you can share in the comments? Because look, folks, it's not just about what's not working, but what is working for you. Maybe that might help someone else out there that's tuning in, right? So don't be shy. Feel free to share those in the comments. Let's see here. We got my friend Shubham in the house. Shubham Verma. Shout out to you, Shubham. Shubham says, hey, Shubham here. I'm a recent grad looking for web developer positions. Check out my portfolio, foxtaildesigns.com. Awesome. I love that, folks. So look, if you're looking for a web developer, feel free to check out Shubham out there. And we got Cassandra in the house. Shout out to Cassandra. Cassandra says, hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra. I'm in construction. I'm tuning in to learn about networking. Awesome. Good to have you here, Cassandra. Hope I'm able to hook you up with some tips and advice that you can utilize in your search. All right. Now, before we get into today's topic, which is, again, networking like a recruiter, I'm going to ask a quick favor from you folks. Make sure you hit like and make sure you comment and also share this stream with anyone you feel would benefit from today's information. All right. And also, if you want to follow me on all my other social channels, check out my Linktree page. And the address is linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter, linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter. That has all my social links. I post daily, for example, daily 60-second job search tip videos on Instagram and TikTok, as well as I believe on Facebook as well. Quick tips every day, which I put on, and I post a ton of content every week on these various social platforms. So again, feel free to check out all my links. linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter. Make sure you check that out. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter. I post a weekly edition every Monday during the afternoons. I talk about a recruitment topic that's more so for hiring teams and organizations and recruiters. And I also include in the same newsletter something related to more for the job seekers out there, right? Job search tips and advice, interview tips and advice. What else? Resume tips and advice, events that I've been speaking at, and key takeaways. This week's edition, if you check it out, I actually shared three takeaways from an event I spoke at on Friday. This past Friday was to a group of graduating students from this boot camp that was organized by Achieve. And it was just such an amazing experience. I really loved speaking at that event. There was around over 30 students in that graduating class. And I shared a couple of the key takeaways. If you're a job seeker, you want to check that out. So if you maybe after the stream, go to my profile, scroll down to the featured section. That should have a link to my LinkedIn newsletter, right? So if you're already a subscriber, I appreciate your support. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe. And again, it's on my LinkedIn profile. Scroll down to the featured section, and you should see the link for my newsletter, right? So make sure you subscribe for that. Also, this week, today's stream, as usual, is sponsored by Tech Recruiters 360, which is my recruitment agency specialized in recruiting IT professionals. So if you're an IT professional anywhere in Canada, if you're an organization anywhere in Canada, you're looking for top tech talent, whatever side of the table you're at, folks, make sure you reach out to me, connect with me, communicate with me. Let me know what challenges you're facing. Let me know what problems you're facing. Whether you're an IT professional, again, looking for that next job in your career, or if you're an organization in Canada looking for that person that you need right now to get involved in those projects you've got going on right now, whatever the case, whatever the situation, make sure you definitely reach out to me for more information on how I can personally assist you. If not right now, hey, maybe at some point in the future, or maybe you just want to hear some ideas from me, right? Either way, happy to see if there's any way I can assist you. And also today's stream is sponsored by DK Global Talent, which is my digital course company. Right now, my current course is Applying to Jobs Online 101. And on this course, I teach job seekers how to take a more proactive role in applying for jobs. The biggest problem a lot of you are facing is you're applying for jobs, you're waiting for a response, you're not getting any responses, right? And a lot of times it's not your fault. It's not even your fault. It's not because your resume is not good. It's simply that you're competing against hundreds, if not thousands, of other applications. And oftentimes it's just that the hiring team, the recruitment team, they're not even getting around to your application or your resume. So in my course, which is, by the way, you can complete this course within 3 hours and you get lifetime access to it. It teaches you how to make use of direct messaging and direct emailing in order to make direct contact and really stand out to hiring teams and hiring managers and recruiters out there. So if you want more information about that, feel free to check out the website down here. It's dkglobaltalent.com/get responses. dkglobaltalent.com/get responses. dkglobaltalent.com/get responses for more information about that, right? Or feel free to send me a direct message after the stream. So that being said, folks, networking. Let's talk about networking, right? Sorry, I see a new comment here. I see Shubham says, I have a lot of connections, but don't know how to actually start a conversation. Any tips? Yeah, great question. I'm going to get to your question shortly, Shubham, because that's such a common frustration all of us face, right? Like, how do you do this networking thing? By the way, I'm about to get into talking about networking tips, folks, so be ready to take notes. How do you approach networking, right? What is this whole networking thing? Now, first thing I want to talk about is, and this is tip number one, you gotta have a realistic outlook on networking, right? Because look, networking is not something where you're gonna make a connection with someone and it's gonna result in you getting like a job interview or a referral like by this afternoon, later this afternoon or tomorrow, right? There will be cases where that happens, right? I'm not saying that's not gonna happen. That will happen, right? But that is more the exception to the rule than the rule itself. The number one rule about networking, folks, is it's a long-term play. Okay, it's a long-term play, folks. You want to write that down. Networking is a long-term play. It's a long-term strategy. The best time to start networking is like, you know, years ago. That's the best time to start networking, because oftentimes you got to build these relationships with your network over time. Now, the good news is it's never too late to start networking, right? So if you haven't been networking effectively, and you haven't been networking, you haven't been putting the time, that does not mean all is lost. Okay, although I'm saying it's a long-term strategy, that does not mean that you cannot reap the benefits as soon as possible. So the first tip is, look, it's a long-term play, it's a long-term strategy, and that's how you got to mentally look at networking. It's something that's gonna yield results over time. Okay, it's something that yields results over time. And the metaphor, the analogy I like to use is, when you're thinking about networking, think about it like a savings account in your bank account, at your bank, right? It's a savings account, folks. It's not a checking account, right? Your checking account is where you deposit some money, and you need to withdraw the money again for like daily expenses. Something came up, some emergency came up, and you know, you need gas money, which a lot of us are stressing about right now, or something came up, right? You ran out of milk, you got to run to the grocery store, you got your checking account, you withdraw it from there, you got the money, you spend it, you use it, whatever, right? Now, that's not the way you got to look at networking, right? Because this is how a lot of you folks are looking at networking: is, hey, I'm going to connect with someone, I'm going to meet with them, I'm going to exchange information, and they're going to help me out right away. You know, boom, that's it, they're going to help me out right away. No, folks, that is not how networking works. Networking is like a savings account at your bank. Okay, what do you do with a savings account? Well, you deposit money, and hopefully you keep making deposits over time, right? It's a continual thing. Maybe you're putting in $100 every week, $100 every month, something like that. You're continuously watering it, putting stuff into your savings account, and someday maybe some big emergency comes up, and maybe that might be in a couple of months, maybe that might be in a couple of years, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is. You're going to have like this whole safety net where you can kind of appeal to, that is your savings account, and you're able to reap those benefits. And you know, you're not going to just wake up tomorrow and be like, okay, well, I put $100 into my savings account today, but when I wake up tomorrow it's going to be $500. No, no, that's not how it works, right? So this is the way you got to mentally approach networking. That is the most important tip, because the mindset you approach networking has a huge effect on how you network. And it's also going to give you realistic expectations about networking itself. So again, what's the example? Remember, write this down if you're taking notes. Networking is like your savings account, all right? It's not your checking account, folks. It is not your checking account. Networking is like your savings account. You need to contribute to it on a continual basis, and the big returns are going to come over time. Okay, it's going to come over time. So long-term outlook, long-term strategy, that is the way you got to look at networking, right? Now, second tip regarding networking, and this applies to whether you're meeting a complete stranger at some social event, you're at a friend's place, you're hanging out, you're socializing. This could apply to a professional networking event. It could apply to a career fair. It could apply to an industry event. All right. I believe we had, who was it? Cassandra, for example, in the comments. She's in the construction industry. Maybe she's attending an industry event related to construction. That is a networking opportunity, right? Now, whatever these scenarios, whatever these situations that you're in regards to networking, the second thing I'm talking about is the biggest mistake everyone makes in regards to networking, and that is not being intentional, not being clear about who you want to meet. This is so important, folks. Who do you want to meet? And I see so many people at networking events, they're not intentional. Okay, write that down if you're taking notes. Be intentional about your networking. That means have an intention. Be clear about who it is you want to meet, and what you want to get out of the networking event, right? Especially if it's an industry event, especially if it's a professional networking event or a career fair. What is your goal? What is your target? Are you looking to simply submit your resume and something like that? Are you looking to connect with recruiters? Are you looking to connect with hiring managers? Who are you trying to meet, folks? I don't know the answer to that. Okay, only you know the answer to that, because you need to get intentional and clear about who it is you want to meet and what you want to get out of the networking event if it's an event. So be really clear. Now, the next part is gonna sound a little bit selfish, but you got to be selfish, folks. All right, you need to be focusing your time on the people that you want to meet. Okay, like if you're at an industry event, if you're in a networking event, you should not be spending like half an hour, 1 hour speaking to someone who you thought's really cool because you both like I don't know, like video games or something, right? That is not good use of your time at the networking event. And the reason why this happens is, first of all, you might feel more comfortable connecting with someone and talking about video games or I don't know, going skiing or snowboarding or something like that. I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe you want to connect with someone in the initial like couple of minutes, talking about this stuff. But I mean, come on, going on for like hours talking about a whole bunch of stuff that will have no bearing on your job search. I mean, not a good approach, right? And the other reason why this happens is because I just see so many people are just not getting clear about who they want to meet at these networking events, because who you want to meet, who you want to target, that's going to help you really hone in and focus on who you should be spending time with at these events. And this is something I've learned so much as a recruiter, right? When I'm meeting, when I'm networking, when I'm out and about, even socializing, when I'm spending time with people, I want to be focusing most of my time on people that I can potentially connect with job opportunities. Okay. Now I'm an IT recruiter. Now, what does that mean? That means I'm going to be spending my time with IT professionals when I'm at these events, even if I'm at a party, even if I'm socializing, if I'm looking to, of course, I'm going to be making friends and socializing and joking and having fun. Of course, I'm going to do that. But I'm going to pay extra special attention, even at these social events that I attend. I'm going to be paying extra special attention to people in the tech industry, right? Because those are opportunities for me to add to my professional networking pipeline, right? So to speak. And this is what you folks got to be doing, just like how us recruiters do. You got to be doing this when you're out and about, and also when you're at those industry events and those professional networking events. Who is it that you want to meet, folks? And you want to be spending the majority of your time with the people that can potentially refer you for opportunities, or they themselves might want to consider you as potential hires for their teams, if it's like an actual hiring manager or an actual decision maker. That is where this is how you got to make the most use of your time. Now, yes, it might sound selfish, right? It can definitely sound selfish for those of you who are like, oh, well, Dean, shouldn't I be paying attention to everyone? Shouldn't I be friendly with everyone? Shouldn't I be trying to get to know everyone? Yeah, sure, folks. I mean, of course, you definitely want to be friendly and professional with everyone. But again, it comes down to being intentional, right? That is tip number 2, right? What I said at the beginning of this tip, you got to be intentional. Who do you want to meet? Who's your target, right? You got to be clear on that, and you want to focus the majority of your time communicating with, getting in contact with, and connecting with these people. This is how you make the most use of your interactions with others and the people that you're meeting with at these events. So that is tip number 2. You gotta be intentional. Now, tip number 3. Okay, we're already now you're talking to someone, and going back to what Shubham was saying in his question, which was, I have a lot of connections, but I don't know how to actually start a conversation. Any tips? So this actually connects with tip number 3. All right, tip number 3 on how you can start that conversation, how you can start connecting with the other person. Because the temptation, look, for a lot of us, the temptation is, hey, you meet someone, you're like, hey, my name is Dean, I'm here because I'm on the market for new opportunities. I'm blah blah blah, I'm looking for such and such positions, and I've been applying, and I'm just wondering, hey, do you know anyone that's hiring, or can you refer me for positions at your company? That's the approach a lot of you might be taking, right? Or some variants of that. I might have exaggerated that a little bit, but a lot of you, this is the kind of the approach you're taking when you're starting these conversations with complete strangers at these events, right? Now, what I want to advise you folks to do is, right, well, because when you do that, you come across, I mean, this is what so many people are doing. And look, by the time someone meets someone who does this very similar pitch, like the 5th or 6th time, I mean, people are already fed up, folks, all right? So my greatest tip is, and this might sound very counterintuitive, but what you want to do is show interest in the other person, show interest in the other party first and foremost, right? That is one of the best ways for you to actually search for common ground. And common ground is the best way for you to transition the conversation into talking about yourself, right? So if you're at a networking event, if you're at an industry event, the best place to start is simply talking about the event itself, right? So maybe you might go up to someone and be like, hey, how's it going? So how are you enjoying the event so far? Or what did you like about what was discussed so far in the event? Which of the speakers did you really like so far, right? I mean, which topics did you most enjoy hearing about? Oh, why is that? Why is that important to you? And then you that's how you kind of transition into talking more about this individual or this person. So what do you do? Which company do you work for? If it's a recruiter, if it's a hiring manager, I mean, it's a great opportunity to talk a bit more, and at this point, transition into talking a bit more about yourself as well, right? So if they talk about XYZ project, maybe you're someone that works in XYZ projects, right? So that's a great transition point. So that's where you might interject yourself and say, oh, okay, that's really interesting. I actually work on such projects, and in fact, I'm currently on the market looking for new opportunities, right? And then they might reciprocate and say, oh, well, we are actually looking to hire someone for such and such positions right now at this time. And you kind of take it from there, folks, right? But it all starts with showing interest in the other person. And again, yes, I know this sounds counterintuitive, because you're like, Dean, what if they start going on and on and on and on and on about themselves? For the most part, folks, I mean, there is a minority of the population out there and for whatever reason, they start, you ask them about themselves, they're going to just go on and on and on and talking on and on about themselves, right? So this is where it's important to not just ask them about themselves, but search for common ground. And you seek out that common ground by asking questions, especially related to their work or the types of projects they're working on, right? Because those projects, those things they've got going on at the company, this is where you can easily insert yourself into the conversation and be like, oh, great, that's actually an area that I work on, or that is a project that I've done in the past, right? Or hey, that's an industry, that's actually an industry I've been working in for a number of years. So you got to strategically direct these conversations, and that's how you kind of transition and talk about yourself, right? So specifically going to Shubham, your question, let me just pull up your question here again, because maybe you're not at a networking event, right? Maybe you're just trying to talk to someone on LinkedIn. Maybe you're trying to talk to someone on that you're connected to on LinkedIn. Now, how do you do this, right? Because that's Shubham's situation here, because he's like, look, I got a lot of connections on LinkedIn, Dean, but how do I actually start a conversation? Same principle, Shubham, right? Take a look at their profile. Have they posted something recently? Have they posted something that can connect you and them, right? I'm assuming this is someone that's probably in the same industry as you, or maybe it's a recruiter. Maybe it's someone that posted something on their LinkedIn, right? So look for clues. I mean, the greatest clues is look at their profile, right? Read over the profile of this person you want to start a conversation with, and mention something on their profile that caught your attention, right? So maybe you read over their profile and they're like, oh, they mentioned something about working in I don't know, the finance industry or banking or something, and for whatever reason that caught your attention because that's something you have in common with them. So you might send them a message and be like, hey, so and so, I noticed on your profile you've actually worked in the past in the banking industry. I've actually been working in the banking industry myself for a number of years, and I noticed that such and such and such were some of the challenges I faced as well. Did you find that those were some challenges you faced as well when in your time in the banking industry? And then they might respond and be like, oh yeah, I experience this all the time as well. And then you could be like, oh, interesting. I'd love to hear more ideas and thoughts from you regarding how you face those challenges. Do you have a few minutes for a quick chat sometime this week? Or whatever. Like, I'm just like, you got to use what's on their profile or even the stuff that they post to generate a conversation. Now, that does not mean you go right into talking about, hey, I need a job, I'm looking for new opportunities, and blah blah blah. I mean, that's not the approach you want to take, right? Again, remember, folks, networking, it does take place over a couple of conversations, over a couple of maybe even a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks. Sometimes with some people, right? Because some people, they take a long time to trust you, might take a couple of months or a couple of years, right? So this is why you also got to be reaching out to as many relevant people as possible as well, Shubham. And again, the best source of how to start a conversation is on their profile or the stuff they're posting. And by the way, if you have people in your network posting stuff on LinkedIn, folks, just comment on their stuff. Don't just hit like. If you just hit like, they might not even notice it, right? Especially if their post is getting a lot of likes, you're going to get lost in the crowd. One of the best ways to stand out is simply comment. And again, that does not mean comment and say, hey, great post, but I'm on the market, I'm looking for work, and help me out or something like that. That's not the best comment, right? because then you're making it about yourself, right? If they posted something, they shared their thoughts about something, if it's industry related or something related to your profession, share your own thoughts about that specific topic, right? That's how you're going to stand out. That's how you're going to get a conversation going. They might respond to your comment, then you're going to respond to that comment, and they're going to respond to that comment, and then you're going to take it offline to maybe like a private message, or maybe you'll set up a phone call or a Zoom call or something like that, and then organically, of course, they're going to reciprocate and ask about you and ask more about you and what you're doing, and that's the best opportunity for you to talk about. If you're on the market for new opportunities, if you're looking for work, you're looking for jobs and stuff like that. So it's a more strategic approach, but it's definitely more intentional. And again, Shubham, the best material to start your conversation about, as to start a conversation with someone else, is to simply start with them, right? Show interest in the other party, and that is the best entryway to get into conversation with someone. Because look, who does not enjoy talking about themselves, folks, right? I mean, everyone likes talking about themselves, right? Even if you're an introvert, even if you're someone that's a bit shy, I mean, you can't help but feel a little, flattered when someone shows interest in you and starts asking about you, right? Again, no matter how shy and introverted you are, yeah, maybe it takes you a bit to warm up to the person. Yeah, maybe you don't open up real quick. I mean, that all of that aside, of course, right? Still, it does kind of stroke our ego, and we kind of feel a little special when someone's asking us about us, right? So that's the best way, in my opinion, to kickstart that conversation and start networking with someone, is simply show interest in the other person, right? And the other part of that is, well, you want to be asking questions that are going to help you find common ground. Because if you don't find common ground, they're just gonna go on and on talking about themselves, and you're not going to be able to determine whether it makes sense for you to further invest time in this relationship. So you want to ask them questions about themselves, ask questions that help you direct the conversation onto some common ground. Ideally, that common ground is related to something work related or professional related, if we're talking about professional networking here. And that's gonna allow you to accomplish the third thing, which is insert yourself and interject yourself into the equation as well. All right. So hope that helps, Shabam. And that's my third tip. Now, the fourth thing is, remember, it's not just about you, folks. All right. This is tip number 4 in regards to networking. It's a two-way conversation. So don't be selfish. Don't just try to be like, oh, okay, let me see what I can get from this person. Let me see what I can get out of the person. Let me see if this person can help me. Let me see if this person can. No, folks, don't be selfish. All right. While you're getting to know this person, you should also be seeing if there's any opportunity for you to help this person at your end, right? If they mention something, if they want to connect with someone, if they want to get introduced to someone, if that is revealed through the conversation, you should take steps to see if you can help that other person as well, right? It's a two-way relationship. It's a two-way conversation, folks, right? Now, a lot of you are not doing this because you're selfish. It's simply because you're maybe in a state of desperation, or you just really want to get referred for job opportunities, or something else out there, and you lose sight of the fact that of, hey, this is a two-way relationship. There has to be some reciprocation here, right? So always consciously be aware of the fact that you got to be reciprocating and seeing how you can add value to the other person, right? How you can help the other person. Don't make it just about yourself and what you can get out of the relationship. You got to see how you can add value to them. Maybe it's an introduction, or even flat out ask them, hey, look, how can I help you? What can I help you with? Why are you at this event? Why are you at this event? You mentioned you're at this event because of XYZ. What can I do to help you get XYZ, right? Whatever XYZ is. See how you can help, and take proactive steps in seeing how you can help the other person, folks, right? That's such a great way to, again, build that trust, build that relationship, and really show this person that hey, you're a sincere person. And you know what? The fact that you initiated helping them, they're going to be much more open to seeing how they can help you as well and reciprocate. It's a two-way thing, folks. It's a two-way thing, right? So look, if you're getting value so far, make sure you hit like, make sure you share, make sure you comment as well, and let me know if you're getting value out of this. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments as well in regards to any of these topics. So I'm going to keep on going. Let me see what else I wrote down here in terms of other tips. And the final tip is, look, you gotta exchange information, stay in touch. The relationship does not start and finish right there at this event that you met this person at, or this one exchange, right? I mean, people meet with people all the time, right? It's depending on their career. They might get into contact with so many different people. they might forget about you after this event. So you got to take steps in making sure that you continue the relationship. Remember, folks, savings account versus checking account. Remember that analogy I spoke about early on. That was tip number one. It's a savings account, folks. Savings account, you make continual investments. You're continuously making deposits into your savings account so that it continues to grow, and it continues to serve you at some point in the future, and provide you with a much greater return on investment. And it's the same thing with networking. Just because you met someone at a networking event does not mean they're going to remember you tomorrow or next week or next month or next year or in a few years from now. Now it's up to you to continue to build and nurture that relationship. And this is something us recruiters are tasked with doing as well, right? We have to continuously take steps in building and nurturing the relationship. Now, you folks might not know this, but what we're doing right now, this is part of my networking strategy, right? It doesn't seem like networking to you, but this is what I do with these weekly live streams, the stuff that I post on LinkedIn and on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all these other social channels. This is part of my networking strategy. This is how I ensure that we continue, you and I, right? You and I continue to build a relationship, and that if you're ever looking for an IT recruiter, or if you're ever meeting like someone who's an IT professional that you know, or you have some family member who's an IT professional, chances are I'm going to be one of the first tech recruiters you think about, because I'm adding to the relationship, right? Through these posts, through these live streams, through all this stuff that I do on social media, right? This is part of my networking strategy as well, right? Of course, it's an exchange of value, right? I'm providing something of value to you, so I get your attention, and I'm able to build that relationship with you over time. Because look, I've got so many connections. It's impossible for me to keep track of every single one of you, right? It's just impossible at this point. I think I've got like I don't know, like 29,000 connections or something like that on LinkedIn. And I'd be lying, folks, if I told you that I'm able to effectively manage each and every one of those connections, because it's impossible. It's close to impossible for me, right? So for me, as part of my networking strategy, what I do is I post this stuff on LinkedIn, right? I post this content on LinkedIn, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all these places. It's my way of contributing to our relationship, right? Because that's the way I see it. You're not just some random connection on my LinkedIn. This is how I continue to add value, right? Savings account versus checking account. And this is the same thing you got to do with your professional connections as well, right? Whether if you're on LinkedIn or whatever platform you're on, you got to look for ways as to how you can continue the relationship and continue to be visible to your network. Now, a lot of recruiters do this by posting job opportunities, for example, posting jobs that they're recruiting on and working on. And this is a strategy you can use as a job seeker as well, right? So maybe as a job seeker, you can post about your expertise, right? Maybe you can do a weekly post sharing some intel or some knowledge about the construction industry, about the tech industry, or maybe some challenge or common problem faced in your industry, whatever it is. Post about it, right? Post about it, put it on social media, put it on LinkedIn. This is not only a way for you to stay on top of your connections' minds, but also for you to establish yourself as an industry expert, as someone who's seen as an industry expert and a thought leader in your space, right? So you got to take these steps in building your network and maintaining that relationship. Now, if maybe you don't want to do that, maybe you don't want to do none of that. Well, something very simple you can do is keep an Excel spreadsheet and can keep track of all of your primary connections that are recruiters, that are potential hiring managers, and just reach out to them once every once every couple of weeks, or once every quarter, once every couple of months, whatever it is. Like all those people that you're friends with, former colleagues, former coworkers, former managers. If you'd rather take that route, then hey, keep an Excel spreadsheet and just remind yourself to reach out to them and just connect with them, right? Connect with them on a phone call, connect with them on Zoom. Like you got to build and nurture the relationship as well. And again, try to put the focus on the other person. Ask them what they're up to. Ask them what they've been up to. Ask them what they're working on right now. Ask them what are their greatest challenges that they're facing right now. Those are the greatest sources of how you can insert yourself into the conversation and see if there's anything that you can help this other party with as well from your end, right? So that's my tips for you today, folks. How to network like a recruiter. These are some of the strategies we as recruiters use that you can use at your end as a job seeker as well, right? So look, if you found value in today's session, make sure you hit like, make sure you comment, let me know, and also make sure you share this segment with your friends and anyone else that might benefit from today's segment. And if you have any other questions, I'll open it up to the Q&A right now, but it doesn't look like we have much questions. So if there isn't any more questions, I will end the segment shortly. But again, for those of you who want to follow me on all my social channels, check out my Linktree page. It's linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter. Again, linktr.ee/DK Tech Recruiter for more information about my other social links. And make sure you mark your calendars, folks. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I'm right here to talk about various job search and recruitment related topics to help you folks out in your job search. So mark your calendars, Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. I'm going to be right here to help you folks out, right? And by the way, if you want to be a guest on my live stream, if maybe you're in the tech industry, or maybe you're someone that wants to talk about your story, maybe you landed yourself a successful job, you wanted to share your strategies, I'd love to have you as a guest on my show. So make sure you send me a direct message after the stream and let me know a bit about yourself. And I'd love to see if I can have you as a guest on the stream as well. Cassandra says, thank you so much. That was great. Hey, no worries, Cassandra. Glad I was able to help in some way and hope that helps in your job search. So looks like there's no other questions, folks. So looks like that is it for today. It is lunchtime over here. So I'm about to go get my lunch. I hope everyone has a fantastic week ahead of them. Final motivational piece of advice I wanted to share with you folks is this. Look, I'm not sure if you can see outside, but if you can see, it's a bit of a cloudy, a foggy day outside out there, right? It's a bit of a foggy day outside here in Toronto. And look, sometimes in life, folks, that's how it's going to be. The visibility is not going to be there. The visibility is not going to be clear. You're going to be like, look, I have no idea like what things are looking for me in my future or moving ahead. But despite the lack of visibility, folks, you got to keep moving forward, right? I know things might not be clear a lot of times in your job search or whatever challenges you're facing in life right now. Things are not always going to be clear. It's going to be a little foggy, just like the weather outside today for me over here in Toronto. But that does not mean give up. That does not mean stop taking action. You still got to figure out what you got to do, and you still got to keep moving forward despite the lack of clarity and despite the lack of visibility, all right? So keep moving forward. Don't give up. And I'll see you again next week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, right here, folks. All right, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you around next time, folks.